In this video, we will learn about rests. The first rest we're going to look at is called the whole rest. In a measure of 4/4 time, a whole rest will receive 4 beats. When placed on a staff, you write a whole rest like this. Okay. The next rest we're going to look at is called a half rest. A half rest receives 2 beats. When written on a staff, a half rest goes on top of the middle line like this. So it's very important to notice the difference in how a whole and half rest goes. A half rest goes on the middle line and it goes upwards kind of like a hat. A whole rest goes from the second line from the top and it goes down. So it's upside down version of a half rest. Okay. Our next rest is called the quarter rest. In a measure of 4/4 time, a quarter rest will receive 1 beat. You write a quarter rest on a staff like this. Okay. Our next rest is called the 8th rest. In a measure of 4/4 time, an 8th rest will receive half of a beat. An 8th rest is drawn on a staff like this. Now, finally, our last rest that we're going to look at is called the 16th rest. The 16th rest, in a measure of 4/4 time, will receive a quarter of a beat. When placed on the staff, it is drawn like so. The key difference to highlight is that an 16th rest is drawn with 2 things coming out of the side of it versus an 8th rest which only has 1. Okay, now that we know the values of and the names of all of these rests, let's take a look at our pyramid. So a whole rest is 4 beats. Going down, a half rest is 2. So just like our note pyramid, you can see that on each progressive level that the rest values go down by half. So if a half rest is 2 beats, then 2 half rests will equal 1 whole rest. 2 quarter rests, each a beat, will equal 1 half rest. 2 8th rests, each at half a beat, equal 1 quarter rest. And 2 16th rests equals 1 8th rest at half a beat. Okay, let's take a look at a couple equations involving rests. Okay, so the equation we're going to look at involves adding together multiple rest values to come up with one rest that is equal to all of the rest combined. Okay, so we're going to put in 4 16th rests and 1 quarter rest. Now we're going to add them all together and come up with one rest that is equal to all of these together. So we have a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter plus 1. So here's 1 altogether plus 1 is 2. Therefore, when added together, all of these will equal 2 beats, which would be a half rest. So if you can see here, if you were to take 4 of these, go upwards, it would equal 1 quarter plus a quarter equals a half. Okay. Now, just like when looking at our note values, we're going to explore the dot used in rests. Now, typically you will not see a dot used with rests. However, if it is used, you should know what it means. When placed beside a rest to the right, a dot means to take half of the value of that rest and add it to its original value. So whole rest, which would be worth 4 beats, you take half of that and add it back on. So half of a whole rest would be 2 beats. Therefore, a dotted whole rest would be 6 beats. And that is a dotted whole. Okay. Placed beside a half rest. Same thing as our notes. We'd have 2 beats for a half rest plus half of that, which would be 1, which equals 3 beats for a dotted half rest. Put a dot beside a quarter rest, and we're going to get 1 beat plus a half. And we're just going to go back as far down as the dotted 8th rest, which would be a half plus half of that, which would be a quarter, which would equal 3/4 of a beat. We'll take a look at one example of putting rests together to equal that. So we're going to put, our musical equation will involve those rests, and we're going to add them all together to come up with one rest that is equal to all of those together. So if we were to look at this, our quarter rest is worth 1, quarter rest worth 1, 8th rest is worth a half, so we have a half plus a half. Okay, adding up all those together, we'd end up with 3, so we need something that is worth 3 beats. So if a half rest is worth 2 and a whole rest is worth 4, we need something in between. So in that case, we would need to put in a dotted half rest, which would be worth 3 beats. Okay. So again, you probably will not see dotted rests very often, but we just had to cover our bases.